All right, guys, welcome to the Brutus J podcast show, and I am Brutus J. And today we welcome back a guest who's appeared on the show before by the name of Jarvis Hicks, and we are talking college football playoffs and predictions. We have 4 games taking place this weekend. You have Miami and Ohio State, Oregon, Texas Tech, Alabama, Indiana, and Ole Miss and Georgia. We're going to go over these games and give our thoughts and predictions. I don't know about you, Jarvis, but this has been a fantastic year as far as college football playoffs. I knew we were going to have some good matchups, but, some of these games we're seeing this weekend, I think are going to be really good. Beginning with Miami and Ohio State. I'm sick and tired. I mean, you probably was young around this time, but I'm sick and tired of hearing all this Miami stuff about back in 2002 when Ohio State stole the game from them. Now you got all these Miami fans today, they're saying they owe Ohio State revenge. In my mind, that was almost 20 years ago. We're in the world of NIL.
Before most of the players were even born or even everybody was little.
Exactly, but I just feel like again, that was a long time ago. We're in the world of NIL. Things are different. Ohio State is stacked, and don't get me wrong, Miami is stacked as well, but it's just one person I don't trust, and that's Carson Beck. I still don't trust Carson Beck. I said that in the Texas A&M game, he needed at least a B game, a B or A game to win it. He didn't have either. I figured that he had at least a C game. That running game and that offensive line and that defensive line dominated Texas A&M, and that's why they won that game. However, I don't see that happening against Ohio State. So in my mind, I'm picking Ohio State to win this game. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think it's pretty obvious. I think everybody's going to pick Ohio State to win the game. Ohio State's front seven is just way better than Texas A&M in my opinion, especially with Arvell Reese and Sonny Styles and everybody else. I don't think they're going to be able to compete with them. But on defense, I think Miami has a chance because Ohio State's offense hasn't been what it can be, especially after watching the Indiana game.
I agree with that. A lot of people, the Big Ten narrative, is that, there's not a lot of big time competition, in the Big Ten. Even Caleb Downs, recently, in an interview, he said that it's very different from the SEC. However, they're playing an ACC team, and you can actually say the same for Miami, but they just beat the SEC team, and they defeated them within the trenches. So, yeah, you got a point. But I still figure that Ohio State will win this game. The spread on this game is Ohio State minus 9.5. If I'm a betting fan with Miami, I would take those points. But I got Ohio State winning this game. All right, Jarvis, let's talk the second game, and that's Oregon against Texas Tech in the Capital One Orange Bowl. This is a big game. I've always maintained that out of all of the playoff teams, Texas Tech, to me, is the most balanced. They run the ball good. They pass the ball good defense. Their only loss came to Arizona State, and guess what? When they lost that game, they didn't have their starting quarterback. So we could be looking at an undefeated Texas Tech game if they had their starting quarterback against Arizona State. I'm picking Texas Tech to win this game. But believe it or not, Oregon is favored in this game by 2.5. So how do you feel about that?
You can kind of understand why, though. I feel like I think Texas Tech is going to win, but I think it's something similar to with Ohio State. They don't have a strong strength of schedule. And honestly, genuinely, I think Texas Tech is going to win because they're well-rounded. They have a great defense. They have Jacob Rodriguez at linebacker to lead them the way on defense. I think, if anything, if they do lose, it'll have something to do with their offense because I don't know if they have anything that's necessarily scary. And yeah, I think Texas Tech is going to win.
Now, one thing I can say, Dan Lanning will have Oregon ready to go. He will have them ready to go. Dante Moore is a fantastic quarterback. Oregon has a decent defense, definitely a great offense. Their offense is dynamic. Now, if their offense catches on fire and their defense is at least, converting, keeping Texas Tech offense off the field, we could be looking at a different story. But as I said, I'm going to pick Texas Tech to win this game. All right, third game on the docket. Now, this one right here, this game right here, it's gonna be really something. Alabama and Indiana in the Rose Bowl. So I was checking out the forecast, and they're saying that it's gonna rain. during the Rose Bowl. Now, if you look at Alabama all year, they've struggled to run the ball. Indiana
Yeah.
is coming in this game number one in stopping the run. Now, if it rains, there could be trouble for Alabama. I'm picking Alabama to win this game. I feel like Indiana's going to get a reality check. The reason why, I get it, Indiana, they upset Ohio State. But when I hear a lot of these Indiana fans, they come out and they say this game is going to be the changing of the guard, I just think it's a little too early for that. It's way too early for that. I get it. This is y'all second year on a great run. You got a great coach in Kurt Signetti. I've never seen a guy come into a program who really haven't even been relevant in 60 years and just turn them around quick like that. And this guy, he isn't even signing, big time recruits. He's actually developing them. So he's doing a
Yeah.
fantastic job. But I think Alabama is going to come into the Rose Bowl. They're saying it's going to rain. I don't think it's going to rain. I think the weather's going to be okay. I think that Alabama is going to upset Indiana. I think it's going to be a reality check, and Alabama's going to come away with a win in the Rose Bowl. What you think about that?
Honestly, I think, man, this is a hard one, but if I had to say who I think is going to win, even though I'm an Alabama hater, I'd probably say Alabama too.
Hey, you see what's behind me. I'm an Alabama hater too, but I'm just speaking facts.
Yeah, and I think it's because of the teams they play. I get Indiana played Ohio State, but the fact that Alabama, I know they just got blown out by Georgia the other day, but the fact that they played the strength of schedule that they played, and I think they're going to be more prepared. But realistically, it's going to be on Ty Simpson, the offense, the running game, like all of that is going to be like the biggest thing about the game.
So let's talk stats in this game. Let's break down a few things. Fernando Mendoza is the Heisman Trophy winner. These are his stats for the season. As for 2,980 yards, 33 touchdowns, and 6 interceptions. Ty Simpson, 500 yards passing, 28 TDs, and 5 interceptions. That's, to me, is not bad. I don't look at that as a. So let's look at the leading rushers. You got Jam Miller, 504 yards. Jam been hurt most of the year, too.
Yeah.
So 504 yards. Deanna's leading rusher has 918 yards. Roman Hemby, 908. So neither team has a 1,000-yard rusher. I think this is going to be a physical ball game, but I think I'm going to give the upper hand to Ty Simpson. If you look at the game against Oklahoma, I get it. Oklahoma offense hasn't been up to par all year, especially, when Mateer got hurt. As the season went on, he was getting better and better, but they were confusing John Mateer in that game. And I think they can do the same thing to Mendoza. I'm telling you, Ohio State has a decent defense, but I think Alabama is going to present something to Fernando Mendoza that he hasn't seen before, and I think Alabama is going to get away with an upset and move on in the college football playoffs. All right, let's move on to the next one. Ole Miss and Georgia. Let's talk something crazy that I heard about this game. So I hate bringing this up, Jarvis. I hate bringing this up, but back when LSU defeated Alabama in 2011, right? When they defeated them, I remember that game. I don't know how old you was. You probably was a baby then.
7.
Oh, you was 7 years old. 7 years old. Well, LSU defeated Alabama in a 9-6 game. They had a rematch. So they played again in the national championship game, which was the Sugar Bowl, and Alabama beat the brakes off LSU 21-0. There was that game where LSU did not make it past the 50-yard line, and I promise you, to this day, I got Alabama fans to get on to me about that game. Now, the reason I'm bringing this up is because during the regular season this year, Georgia defeated Ole Miss. Now here they are in the Sugar Bowl in the playoffs. The question is, does Ole Miss return the favor to Georgia? Because history shows that in the regular season, if a team loses, then if they rematch in the Sugar Bowl, then that team in the regular season who lost end up winning in the Sugar Bowl. So what happens this time?
Honestly, I think considering that Ole Miss doesn't have their head coach, even though I don't think it's a big deal, but it's not that big of a deal, I feel like that's going to have like a strong effect on it. And then also, Ole Miss's defense isn't good, so it's going to be like a struggle. And if they can't go score for score like they were last time, then I feel like it's the first team to get a stop if it's like last game, but I don't know.
So
Once they
so
were
Go
My
ahead.
bad. They were going like last game, they were going score for score. And as soon as Ole Miss got stopped one time, the game was over. Like,
Mhm.
because I'm pretty sure the defense was tired. Georgia could just run the ball. They were out physicaling them on defense. I mean, offense, like their offensive line. And I just don't think that's going to happen this game, especially without Lane
So
Kiffin.
So over the past few games, Georgia not only had their offense has been coming up, well, the offense been legit all year, but their defense in the beginning of the year was kind of struggling. But now over the past few games, Georgia's defense has been back to being elite.
Yeah.
And a lot of people has been wondering, when is that gonna happen? I mean, this recruiting class that Kirby, signed with Elijah Griffin. I mean, this kid is a beast. And that's who I think is gonna be a key on that Georgia defensive line against Ole Miss. I feel like this is gonna be one of those games to where it's gonna start off, kind of neck and neck, and then towards that third, fourth quarter, I think Georgia is gonna end up pulling away. Ole Miss, they're gonna have pride, but I keep telling people, I get it. Charlie Weiss, Lane Kiffin allowed his offensive staff to go back over there. Charlie Weiss, calling the offensive plays. But here's the thing: Pete Golden, the head coach, he knows defense. He don't know offense. When Lane Kiffin is on that sideline with Charlie Weiss, guess what? When it's certain plays called by Charlie Weiss, Lane Kiffin knows how to butt in and say, hey, no, I don't think that's going to work. Pete Golden's not going to do that. He's going to allow Charlie Weiss to do his thing. And I think that is going to be the difference. Not having Lane Kiffin on that sidelines, it's going to mean a lot in this game. And I think Georgia is going to win this game convincing. I think Georgia's going to win this game in convincing style. So give me the Bulldogs in that game. So you got the Bulldogs too.
I'll say I got Georgia, but I won't be surprised if it's close.
Give me a score. What you think the score going to be?
Probably like 28-21 or 35-20. It's going to be a high scoring. I feel like it's going to be high scoring because Ole
Well,
Miss
I
is just
can
not going to flat out get stopped.
Well, I can tell you this. The spread in this game is Georgia minus 6.5.
Yeah.
Trinidad Chambliss, I think, is going to have a good game, but the last game they played, Keywan Lacey didn't do anything. I think he
Yeah.
had like 12 carries for like 28 yards. And if that happened the first game, I don't see anything changing the second game because, like I said, that Georgia defensive front has been playing some legit football. So, yeah, I got the Bulldogs in this game. All right, I want to talk a little bit about the transfer portal. As everybody knows, January the 2nd, is the big day where that transfer portal is just going to flood. And I've been saying it's been a lot of transactions going on between Ole Miss and LSU. You got a lot of players leaving Ole Miss, going to LSU. Some coaches who's leaving LSU, going to Ole Miss, and it's already been talked, that the Ole Miss running back possibly can go to LSU. It's rumored that they've offered him $1.8 million to stay. And then Trinidad Chambliss, he's still waiting on a waiver for Ole Miss. So whether or not that he can play for his 6th year or whatever. So LSU, they don't know what's going on with their quarterback situation. A lot of people saying they might get DJ Lagway, but that's still up in the air. But my question to you is, how do you feel about this transfer portal? Because I just feel like it's going to be different this year. And they're saying that, LSU Tigers and Lane Kiffin are going to have this huge transfer portal class coming in.
Is this still on the table with, well, he hasn't hit the transfer portal or anything, but like, a lot of people were saying Bryce Underwood. And I feel like that'd be like a good
He
fit.
hasn't said anything. There was a rumor, I don't know if it's true, that his parents kind of debunked all that. Michigan
Yeah.
does have a new head coach, so I'm pretty sure that head coach gonna be doing everything he can to make sure he stay there. And, probably get him a plan because I know that young man was not happy with that offense because they pretty much, kept him from throwing the ball. I mean,
Yeah.
Michigan, all they did was run. But my thing is this right here: before he got with Michigan, you had to know that's what was gonna happen. You was gonna be handing that ball off.
Well, I'm
But
pretty sure it got something to do with the OC though, because the OC was at North Carolina last year, and I'm pretty
mhm,
sure they seen what he did with Drake and with Omarion. And Drake had, I think Drake had 3,000 yards or something more than that 2 years,
mhm,
his last year at North Carolina, and they probably looked at that and said that he can
mhm.
bring that over there. But or he was looking at that and thinking that he could do more. But obviously, they still had the Michigan way.
And by the way, he's no longer with Michigan. That offensive
He's gone
coordinator.
now.
He's Yeah, he's gone. He is gone. He is gone. I'm trying to remember. I saw where he had went because he got let go, but he's already been picked up. What I forgot his name.
Chip Lindsey.
Chip Lindsey, that's right, Chip Lindsey. But I don't think they actually fired him. I think, well, it's possible he could have got fired, but he is definitely gone. Somebody, I want to say, was it Virginia Tech? No, he went to Missouri. He went to Missouri. So
It's
he's
not
with
bad.
Eli Drinkwitz, and he's back he's in the SEC again. Because he was with Auburn at one point.
Yeah.
So he's in the SEC. Oh, I met Chip Lindsey. He's an all right guy, but sometimes everything don't work out. I mean, in Big Ten country, let's be real, it's run first all the time. It is run first. But you right, they probably was thinking that he was gonna be able to work with that kid the same way he did with Drake May, but it didn't turn out that way. But so back to the transfer portal. There's a lot of quarterbacks in the transfer
Mm-hmm.
portal. And let's start with DJ Lagway. Tough season. I remember the one game against LSU where he threw 5 interceptions. His freshman year was pretty good. It was his coming out party. He did pretty good. As I said, a tough year this year. So there's not a lot of people that are thrilled when they hear his name brought up. I personally feel like it was just a bad situation. It was a bad situation he was in. Not saying that Billy Napier was a terrible coach, but I feel like if he's in a new environment, that he can pretty much be better at what he would be back to what he was doing, his freshman year. I mean, you still saw signs of it, like prime example, the Ole Miss game. I mean, Florida almost upset Ole Miss. So
Beat Texas.
yeah, that you have a good point that he did beat Texas. But we're gonna check out these transfer portal players as of right now because it's like I said, it is a lot of big time players in the transfer
Cam
portal
Coleman.
right now. Yeah, Cam Coleman. So I'm gonna tell you who I've been hearing about with Cam Coleman. I've heard Georgia, I've heard Ohio State, and I've heard Texas. I haven't
I
even
heard people
heard
say
LSU.
Alabama.
I've heard Alabama too, but surprisingly, I haven't heard LSU because he strikes me as a type of player that LSU would want to shoot for. So right now, as far as quarterbacks, top quarterbacks, you got Brendan Sorsby. He's from Cincinnati. You got and believe it or not, Drew Mestermaker from North Texas is second. DJ Lagway third. Dylan Raiola fourth. Byron Brown from South Florida. They say he's probably gonna go to Auburn because South Florida coaches at Auburn. Rocco Beck from Iowa State. So I mean, right now, some of the names ain't all that ain't all that popular, especially Drew Mestermaker. I mean, the average person ain't even gonna know who that is.
I
But
don't
I
know. I'm
mean,
not be honest. I don't even know who that is. I know a
hey,
lot of players.
I mean, he North Texas. I mean, he's not a name. Like I say, he's not a name that's gonna stick out. But that's who they got. All right. With that being said, with this transfer portal, I do feel like that. And I'm not being a homer, even though I'm an LSU Tiger fan. I'm not being a homer. I do feel like the LSU is gonna land the #1 transfer portal class this year because of the situation that's going on with Lane Kiffin. I've noticed that over the past week, the entire offensive line has hit the transfer portal for LSU. Only one player is still there, and that's the center. Everybody else has left. And that offensive line was horrendous.
I was
It
gonna
was
say, yeah, it
horrendous.
was bad.
All year. So I've been seeing a lot of tweets. Oh, they're all coming to Ole Miss. And I'm saying to myself, if y'all want them players from LSU, the
They can
offensive
have them.
line to go to, yeah, go ahead. Go ahead and get them. I mean, I hope they get better, but I am happy. I am so happy that they're gone. Yeah, so I'm really looking forward to 2026. But now, to end this show, I know we've went over the predictions of each game, and we're gonna talk again about this, soon. But who do you think is gonna win it all? I got a feeling. I know who you're gonna say.
I'm
And
gonna
then
say
North.
Georgia, but
Okay,
what would you think I was gonna say?
I kind of feel like you was gonna say Ohio State.
No, I'm an avid Ohio State hater now, so I don't know.
Wow,
I don't.
wow.
Realistically, I don't care if it's Indiana. I think it's gonna be Indiana or Georgia, but I just don't want it to be Alabama or Ohio State. I'm dead.
Mhm.
But I think it's gonna be Georgia because they have everything.
Yeah, they do have everything. So I'm an SEC guy. And I want Alabama to beat Indiana, but if Alabama gets anywhere near that championship game, I cannot pick Alabama to win it. I want them to beat Indiana because I don't like Cinderella stories. I'm picking Georgia to win it all because I'm an SEC guy. So I want Georgia to win it all, but if Alabama gets near that championship game, I don't care who they playing. I want the other person to win because I don't want to hear it the entire 2026. All that bragging from on the. I love listening to the Paul Feinbaum show, but if Alabama wins, you won't hear me listening to Paul Feinbaum show all of 2026. I don't want to hear it. So give me Georgia to win it all. I hope they do. I really do hope they do. So all I know is this right here. When they do beat Ole Miss, that transfer portal from Oxford all the way to Baton Rouge fisting to be open. It's gonna be a trail. It's gonna be a trail of tears from both ends, from Baton Rouge to Oxford, and for Oxford to Baton Rouge. But
I
yeah,
feel
so
like the assumption that Georgia is gonna win, which I think they will win, but I feel like it's a bigger chance for. I think Ole Miss has a chance at least. I get they don't have Lane Kiffin, but I
they
don't
they
know.
they they do have a shot. I
Georgia's
just
gonna win definitely, but
yeah.
I think Ole Miss still has a chance.
I don't like the assumption that Ole Miss fans feel like they're America's team because of what happened to Lane Kiffin. I mean, I look at it this way. Players do it all the time. I had somebody tell me, "Oh, well, you'll never catch a player leaving during the playoffs." Yes, they do. There have been players leaving a playoff team. There have been players doing that. I've seen players. I can't remember that kid name. He was at Georgia and he left Georgia during the playoffs to join Alabama. I can't remember his name, but he did it. He was a wide receiver.
You talking about? I know who you talking about. Who played for the
I
Bengals?
can't,
Well, he got a
but
cut.
he did it. He did it. So players do it all the time. So I don't know why they get mad that Lane Kiffin decided to leave during the playoffs. I don't know why, but I saw nothing wrong with it. But Ole Miss feel like they're America's team, but they're not. They're not America's team. They're not. And hopefully all this stuff get put to bed. And what's gonna happen is when they lose, it's gonna be a real hatred towards Lane Kiffin because in their mind they're gonna say they lost because of him. So I just hope they go ahead and put it to bed. All right, so that's enough of college. As I said, we're gonna close the show out. Man, I gotta tell you, hey, I've enjoyed this. We're gonna get together again soon and we got to talk some NFL because, hey, the last week is coming. Your Steelers, things haven't been looking good. We're not going to get into all that right now. I know it. They're not looking too good. But we're going to talk NFL playoffs real soon. We're going to save that for another show. We're going to do predictions in the NFL. Who's going to win the big game? We're going to talk about all that. So we'll save that for another show. But until then, hey, Jarvis, I appreciate you coming on to the Brutus J podcast. And we will talk again. You enjoy your night, all right?